Hi, I'm Alvaro and we're gonna talk about the UFC. The UFC born in November of 1993 with the idea of find the most important martial art. To develop this idea, they contact 8 of the best athletes in the world. Each one will represent their own martial art. So they got these athletes experts on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, karate, wrestling, kickboxing, and even sumo, and they were gonna fight in a championship with knockout rounds. So we got 7 fights in only one night, and only one champion. The very first night was awesome and wild. They didn't have rules, so almost everything could happen. They neither have time limits, so the fights lasted what they needed. Another thing about that night was the lack of weight division. So we saw big difference. For example, we got a fight with 218 pounds of difference between two fighters. The fighters didn't use a mud war. By the way, the champion was Royce Gracie, who submitted his opponent by a rear neck choke. He also won the UFC 2 and the UFC 4, and he never lost inside the UFC arena. This result made a difference in the martial arts world, turning the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu one of the most important and popular martial arts. The UFC have had a lot of change from those days. First, the UFC already has rules. It is sanctioned by the Unified Rules of MMA. Secondly, the weight divisions were implemented. So now we can see 8 men's divisions and 3 women's divisions, where each division is separated by 15 pounds. Thirdly, the fighters must use a mouth guard, and if the fighters are male, they must use a groin protector as well. Finally, the whole show has changed. The championship model with knockout rounds was rid of. So now we got a ranking of fighters by weight division, where each division has its own champion who exposes his title or belt in just one fight. And now each fighter only had one fight per night. With all these changes, the fame arrived to the UFC. Since the year 2001, the UFC has won a lot of devotees, but not only the people who want to see this sport has risen, yet the people who want to take part in this sport and becoming fighter has increased. Maybe the economic motivation was one of the most important changes. We are talking about thousands of dollars. In the very first UFC, the champion won $50,000, but now that is the amount that is given as a bonus. The UFC gives around 5 bonuses per night, and each one represents $50,000 extra for the fighter who win it. For example, they got a bonus for the KO of the night and a bonus for the submission of the night. Moreover, the amount of money which each fighter gets is high, and obviously the more important you are, the more money you gain. But maybe you don't know what you're gonna see if you watch a UFC show. You will see the most important stage for the mixed martial arts in the world. You will see some of the better contenders in the world. You will see people who have been training for several weeks to get in the octagon and make their best. You will see a fighter who is ready to stand against his opponent with only one aim in mind: beating him. You will see as well people who are athletes, and after all, they're gonna show respect for their opponent. This is a full contact sport which allows usage of both grappling and striking while standing and on the ground. Now, when we talk about the Colombian fighters in the UFC, shamefully, we don't have many examples. Nevertheless, we could talk about two. First, Sabina Mazo, the Colombian queen, who have a professional record of 6 wins and 0 losses, and she will make her debut on March of 2019. Secondly, there is Julio Arce, who already makes his debut on the UFC, and he have a professional record of 15 wins and 3 losses. This sport is almost new, and it's a great opportunity for the kids to make a career as athletes. And Colombia has the potential, as well as Brazil and other countries, to bring fighters into this sport.